Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really zeroing in on a key part of the IELTS exam vocabulary.
That's right.
You, our listener, shared some great materials with us, and we're going to explore how you can use them to, well, boost your band score, obviously, but also just become a more confident English speaker.
Exactly. Think of it as a focused strategy session. We want to help you unlock that higher level language.
And the resources you sent over, they cover quite a bit, don't they? Things like power words, synonyms, transition words.
Yeah, and even specific vocabulary for common topics like technology and society, plus some practice tips.
So our mission today is basically to equip you with some solid vocabulary and techniques, things you can actually use to impress the examiners and, just communicate better.
Let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with what this guide calls power words. There are 20 here. The idea is they add precision, maybe a bit more formality.
They definitely make your language sound more advanced.
So we'll go through them. First one, overwhelming. Defined as very strong in effect or feeling. Example, there was overwhelming support for the proposal.
Right. And using overwhelming there instead of just, say, a lot of support.
Yeah.
It really conveys intensity. Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't just numerous support. It was powerful, almost irresistible, adds that layer of sophistication.
I see. Paints a stronger picture. Okay, next, ambiguous. Meaning unclear or open to more than one interpretation. The example. The instructions were ambiguous and confusing. How's that better than just unclear?
Well, unclear is a bit vague, isn't it? Ambiguous specifically points to why it might be unclear because it could mean different things. It's more precise about the problem.
Right, highlights that specific kind of confusion. Okay, credible, believable, or trustworthy. Sentence. We need a credible source for this information. Why is that one useful?
Oh, definitely. In speaking and writing, showing you understand the need for credible sources, not just any source, adds real weight to your arguments. It's about reliability.
Makes sense. Next power word, foster. To promote or encourage. Example. Schools should foster creativity in students. Is that different from just encourage?
It is, subtly. Encourage is fine, but foster suggests more nurturing, like creating the right conditions for something to grow over time. It feels a bit deeper, more proactive.
Okay, I like that. Then exacerbate to make worse. Example. The drought has exacerbated food shortages.
Yeah, so it implies there was already a problem, the food shortages, and the drought made that existing problem more severe. Made worse is okay, but exacerbate is more formal and precise about that intensifying effect.
Got it. Next is altruism. Selfless concern for others. Sentence. Her actions were driven by altruism, not profit. How's that different from, say, kindness?
Kindness is great, but altruism specifically highlights the lack of self-interest. It's about acting purely for others' benefit. More formal carries a specific ethical weight.
Okay, following that. Lucrative, profitable. Example. Software engineering is a lucrative career. Why not just say well-paying?
Well-paying is fine, but lucrative often implies very profitable, potentially generating significant wealth. It has a bit more punch, especially in business contexts.
Right. Next, subsequent, coming after. Example. Subsequent research confirmed the theory. How does this help?
It's a great connector for showing sequence. Instead of just and then, subsequent clearly marks that this research came after the initial theory or event. Helps with flow.
Good point. Ubiquitous. Found everywhere. Since smartphones have become ubiquitous in modern life. Strong word.
Very strong. Common doesn't really capture it, does it? Ubiquitous emphasizes that near universal presence. They're just everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. Next, impartiality. Fairness.
Yeah.
Example. Journalists must maintain impartiality. Important concept.
Absolutely, especially in contexts like journalism or law. It's not just about being fair, but actively being unbiased, neutral, without favoritism. It's fundamental to credibility.
Okay. Number 11 is entail. To involve is a necessary step. Sentence. This job entails a lot of travel. How does that clarify things?
Involves is quite broad. Entails suggests the travel isn't optional. It's an inherent, necessary part of the job. Sets out the requirements clearly.
Right. Then noteworthy.
Yeah.
Deserving attention. It's a noteworthy achievement. So what makes something noteworthy?
It implies significance. It's not just worth mentioning in passing. It's remarkable, something that stands out and deserves special recognition or attention.
Okay. Next is robust. Strong and effective. They proposed a robust solution. What's the extra layer there?
Robust suggests more than just strength. It implies it's well-designed, resilient, likely to hold up under pressure or scrutiny, a strong and well-thought-out solution.
Got it. Then repercussion, consequence or effect. The decision had serious repercussions. How's that different from just consequence?
Repercussion often implies more significant, far-reaching, and sometimes negative consequences. It hints at a ripple effect, maybe unintended effects too.
Okay. 15th word, harness. To use something effectively, we should harness solar energy.
Yeah, use is simple. Harness implies controlling and utilizing a resource, often something powerful like energy, to its full potential, capturing and directing it purposefully.
Makes sense. Compromise. To settle with mutual concession. They reached a compromise after long negotiations. Key concept.
Very key. It highlights that process of give and take, where both sides concede something to reach an agreement, essential in many situations.
Definitely. Then discrepancy. A lack of agreement. There is a discrepancy between reports. Pinpoints the issue, right?
Exactly. It's more specific than just saying they don't agree. A discrepancy points directly to an inconsistency or difference between two pieces of information or data.
Okay. Number 18. Indispensable. Absolutely necessary. Water is indispensable to life. Pretty strong word.
Extremely strong. It means you absolutely cannot do without it. It's non-negotiable, essential for existence or function.
Right. Restructure. To reorganize. The company plans to restructure its operations. Sounds major.
It usually implies a significant, often fundamental reorganization. More than just shuffling things around, it suggests changing the core structure for efficiency or adaptation, common in business talk.
And the last one, number 20. Intrinsic. Essential or natural. Creativity is intrinsic to innovation. What's that telling us?
It means creativity isn't just helpful for innovation. It's an inherent, fundamental part of it. Like it's woven into the very nature of innovation. You can't really separate them.
Wow, okay, so yeah, using these words thoughtfully can really add depth.
Definitely. Precision and nuance.
And that leads perfectly into the next section, part 2, which is about synonyms. Elevating your language.
Avoiding repetition, mostly.
Exactly. The materials list 10 common words and some Band 9 level synonyms. And the goal isn't just to sound fancy, right?
No, absolutely not. It's about precision again. Choosing the best word for the specific meaning and tone you want to convey. It shows a greater command of the language.
Right. So let's look. Instead of important, we've got crucial, pivotal, fundamental. What are the kind of subtle differences there?
Well, crucial often implies something vital for success or failure, like it's critical. Pivotal suggests a turning point, something really decisive. And fundamental means basic, essential, forming a foundation.
Okay, that helps distinguish them. For good, the options are exceptional, admirable, effective.
Yeah, exceptional is like outstanding, far above average. Admirable means worthy of respect. And effective focuses purely on whether it works or achieves the goal.
Context is key then.
Always.
Okay, instead of bad, we could use detrimental, substandard, harmful. And the guide actually notes that detrimental works better in formal writing than bad. Why is that?
Well, bad is just so general and informal. Detrimental specifically points to a negative impact or consequence, often in a more serious or formal context. Substandard is about quality being too low, and harmful is about causing damage. So detrimental has that formal weight.
Gotcha. For think, we have contend, argue, believe strongly. These seem more active somehow.
They are. Think can be passive. Contend and argue suggest you're putting forward a specific viewpoint, maybe with reasons. Believe strongly obviously emphasizes conviction. They show more engagement with the idea.
Right. Instead of help, we could use facilitate, support, enable. How do they differ in showing assistance?
Facilitate is more about making a process easier. Support is general help or backing. And enable means giving the means or opportunity to do something. Slightly different focuses.
Okay. For big, the synonyms are substantial, considerable, significant.
Substantial often relates to amount or size, a large quantity. Considerable means noticeably large or important. Significant implies importance or consequence, not just size.
Right, that nuance of importance. For small, we have marginal, negligible, minor.
Yeah, marginal is usually a very small difference or amount. Negligible is so small it's almost not worth considering, insignificant. Minor just means less important or smaller in scale compared to something else.
Okay, and easy can become effortless, straightforward, uncomplicated.
Effortless really emphasizes the lack of effort needed. Straightforward means clear, easy to understand. Uncomplicated just means not complex.
Got it. Instead of hard, we could use challenging, demanding, arduous.
Right. Challenging implies difficulty, but maybe in a good, stimulating way. Demanding means it requires a lot of effort or resources. Arduous suggests something really difficult and tiring, often a long task or journey.
Okay. And lastly, for say, we have state, declare, emphasize.
To state is often for formal facts or official announcements. Declare is usually a strong public pronouncement. And emphasize is specifically about highlighting importance, stressing a point.
So again, it's all about choosing the right tool for the job, essentially.
Precisely. The most accurate word for your specific meaning and context.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, moving on to part 3, transitions and connectors. These are the words that, glue everything together.
Absolutely vital. They're like signposts for your reader or listener. They show how your ideas connect.
Yeah, the guide stresses how important they are for coherence, which the examiners are definitely looking for.
You bet. Without them, even good ideas can seem jumbled or disconnected.
So the guide breaks them down for adding ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, in addition, not only that.
Right. Furthermore, often adds a stronger reinforcing point. In addition is a bit more neutral, just adding something related. Not only that, adds emphasis, like, and what's more.
Okay, for contrasting ideas.
However, nevertheless, on the other hand.
However is your standard go-to contrast word. Nevertheless implies, despite the previous point, this is still true. On the other hand, usually sets up a direct comparison of two different aspects or viewpoints.
Got it. Giving examples. For instance, such as to illustrate.
For instance, or for example, introduce a specific case, such as is typically used mid-sentence to list examples. To illustrate often introduces a slightly longer or more detailed example to explain something.
Okay. And for concluding.
That's summary.
Overall, therefore. In summary, signals a brief recap of main points. Overall offers a general concluding thought or judgment. Therefore, shows a logical result or conclusion based on what came before.
And the last category here is cause and effect. As a result, consequently. Hence.
As a result, and consequently, clearly link an outcome to a cause. Hence is a slightly more formal way to say therefore, also indicating a logical consequence. Using these properly really boosts clarity.
Yeah, makes your arguments much easier to follow. Okay, let's shift gears slightly to part 4. Topic-specific vocabulary.
Good idea.
The guide focuses on two big IELTS themes, technology and society. Having some ready words for these is useful, right?
Oh, definitely. These topics come up all the time. Being able to discuss them precisely shows your range and engagement with common issues.
So for technology, first up is innovation, a new idea or method, pretty central.
Absolutely fundamental to any discussion about tech progress.
Then automation, using machines for tasks. Very relevant now.
Hugely relevant. Future of work, impact on jobs, it's a constant theme.
Cybersecurity protection from digital threats, another big one.
Massive. Affects everyone from individuals to nations.
And data privacy, control over personal information. Lots of ethical angles there.
Exactly. Who owns data, how it's used, big debates.
And finally for tech, tech-savvy, skilled with technology. Useful adjective.
Yeah, describes people well, but you could also talk about a tech-savvy city or population, perhaps.
Good point. Okay, switching to society. We have social inequality, unfair differences in wealth or opportunity.
A persistent global issue, unfortunately. It comes up a lot in Task 2 essays.
Then urbanization, growth of cities. Huge global trend.
Massive impacts, social, economic, environmental. Lots to discuss there.
Public welfare services that benefit society, like healthcare, education.
Exactly. Government roles, social safety nets, that kind of thing.
Civic engagement, active participation in public affairs, important for democracy.
Often seen as vital, yeah. How involved people are in their communities and politics.
And lastly, for society, demographic shift, change in population structure, aging populations, migration.
Precisely. These shifts affect everything from healthcare demand to the economy, and the guide gives that nice example sentence combining these.
Oh yeah. Rapid urbanization has led to significant social inequality in many developing countries.
See? Combines urbanization and social inequality perfectly to make a complex point.
That really shows how to use them. Okay, so we've got power words, synonyms, transitions, topic words, but just knowing them isn't enough.
Not at all. You've got to make them stick.
Which brings us to the final part, part 5. Practical tips for actually retaining and using this vocabulary.
Crucial step. Active recall is the goal, especially under exam pressure.
Right, so first tip, spaced repetition apps like Anki. How do those help?
They're based on the science of memory. They show you words just before you're likely to forget them. So harder words appear more often, easier ones less often. It's really efficient for long-term memorization.
Sounds smart. Creating personalized flashcards with example sentences. Why personalized?
Yeah.
Because making it relevant to you, using contexts you understand, or situations you might talk about, creates stronger memory links. It's more engaging than just using someone else's examples.
Makes sense. Another tip, daily writing, consciously trying to use new words.
Yes, active use is key. Just write emails, journal entries, practice essays, and deliberately slot in some of your new vocabulary. Don't worry about perfection, just practice using them.
Okay. And recording yourself speaking, maybe aiming for 5 new words a day. That sounds potentially awkward.
It can feel weird at first, but it's great for checking pronunciation and just getting comfortable saying the words aloud. Hearing yourself helps you improve fluency and confidence.
I can see that. And the final tip, actively use the vocabulary in mock IELTS tasks.
That's the real test bed. Simulating exam conditions forces you to recall and use the words under pressure. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes.
And they throw down a challenge. Replace 5 common words with advanced ones in your next essay.
Great practical target makes you actively look for opportunities.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. In this deep dive, drawing on your materials, we've looked at those impactful power words.
The synonyms for more precision and flair.
Those crucial transition words for flow.
And the topic-specific vocab for areas like tech and society.
Plus, really importantly, those practical strategies to make it all stick.
And the big takeaway is really about consistent, active use. It's not about cramming lists. It's about integrating these words into how you actually speak and write English.
Exactly. The end goal isn't just using fancy words. It's communicating your ideas more effectively, more precisely, and more confidently.
Couldn't agree more. And maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to take away.
Yeah.
As you're preparing, think about which area, maybe speaking, maybe writing tests too, could benefit most right now from upgrading some vocabulary. And maybe identify just 2 or 3 common words you tend to overuse. Then find some good synonyms for those specific words and start practicing them. That kind of targeted approach can sometimes feel less overwhelming and lead to quicker improvements.
That's a great actionable way to end it. Focus your efforts.